All right, well, we're headed out. We're going to go to one of our local lakes in southern Kenai, and we are going to go fishing.
Yeah, we're super excited. We haven't been this season, and it's Harrison's first time going, so we're excited and hopeful we're going to catch something.
Oh, yeah.
And we also are going to have a Q&A, so stay tuned for that.
All right, let's head out. All right, well, we made it, and the ice is thick enough. We're gonna drive on the ice today to get to a spot. Oh, yeah, this lake it comes to a point right there, and then it gets way bigger. This is the small part of the lake here. Now this is what it looks like from the inside. It's probably one of the easiest things to set up. I mean, honestly, what a game changer. I'm gonna get the heat in here, and that way they can enjoy it too. There we go. Today it's actually 6 degrees out, so it's kind of cold, but that heater is very nice, and that'll help a lot. Yeah.
He's super excited. He's got his fishing pole, and this is our first time ice fishing in Alaska. And Harrison's first time ice fishing, and he's ready. Are you ready to ice fish?
Are you ready? Yes. Daddy, come sit next to you. Wow, it is significantly warmer in here.
It is.
Feels really good. You having fun in here, Bubba? No. Oh, he found a piece of snow, a piece of ice.
Like a little snowball.
Yeah.
All right, so we decided that we would go ahead and do a question and answer session while we're fishing. We've had a lot of people reach out to us and ask questions, and so we thought we'd share them with everybody. Harrison, you ready to answer some questions?
Yeah. All right, let's answer.
All right. So the first question that we got was, how did Blake and I meet? So I'll go ahead and tell you guys. So we were both in college at the time. But we met at the animal shelter,
yeah, Daddy's
and I was volunteering, and he was looking to adopt, and one thing led to another. I was helping him with the adoption, and he asked me out, and the rest has been history. We have been together 15 years as of last year, and we just celebrated our 7-year wedding anniversary. So we've been together a long time, and we've gone on several adventures. We've traveled out of the country, did a lot of international traveling and traveling in the lower 48. So we've done a lot before we had kids. So we waited to have kids, but we did a lot, and now we're excited to be settling down more and starting our family.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful 7 years, that's for sure. We've been a lot of adventures.
We have. Well, we've been together 15, but...
Well, I just meant a wonderful 7 years of marriage.
Yeah, but it's the last 7 years we've done a lot.
Yeah, we have.
A lot. So, all right. So, next question is, how do you guys make a living?
Well, so... the way Jillian started out, she became a nurse in college, and I decided to go the medical field path as well. And so I ended up becoming a tech. So currently I am working as a tech.
I decided to take a break with the kids. It's hard trying to be a nurse and with kids, at least in my opinion. So we decided that I would be with the kids, and he's still working right now. We came up here on contract work. That's how we got started. in Alaska. We lived in Wisconsin for 4 years and moved back to Texas. We had Harrison, and we decided, you know what, with the real estate prices at that time, we decided we're going to keep traveling. So got contract work in Alaska and did our 3 months and decided we might stay.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to lie. The strangest thing, right? When I first got here, I absolutely hated it. But I think a lot of that was because it was just so much change all at once. But when I finally lifted my head up and looked at the horizon, I tell you what, I fell in love. And Jillian at the same time fell in love with this place.
Yeah, so it was a little overwhelming at first, especially going, you know, Anchorage. Anchorage is a bigger city, which is what we came from, a larger city. So, but once we got settled into where, on the Kenai Peninsula, which is where we are, we just fell in love with it and thought it'd be a really great place to raise kids.
Yeah.
A lot of young families here, believe it or not, and
which was a surprise, really.
Really surprised. A lot of young families and people looking for a different way to raise their children. They support homeschooling here, which is what we plan to do. There's a lot more freedom here, and so we decided to take the chance. It was a very hard decision being away from our family and leaving our family, especially with Harrison. At the time was the only grandchild on both sides. But we ultimately had to make the decision for ourselves and what we thought was best for our family.
What's that?
What is that?
What's that?
Those are those little worms that I was telling you about. Yeah.
See the worms? The pink worms? Oh. Okay.
What's that?
Yeah. Like that, you gotta bounce it like this, trying to get the fishy. So here, fishy, fishy. Here, fishy, fishy.
Wow! Can you get me a spoon?
Yeah, I got you a spoon. Look at Daddy.
Alright, I'm going to do a tip up. A little shrimp on there with a tungsten glow.
Alright, so the question that we've been getting a lot lately, because I'm pregnant and due actually 30 days from today or a month from today, super excited, is what's the gender of your baby? So we don't know what it is. We are letting it be a surprise. Harrison was a surprise. We didn't want to find out with him. We feel like there's few surprises in life.
Yep.
And we want the baby. We feel like that's one of the very few surprises that you get in your life. And so we're waiting. It's been hard this time.
Yeah.
But we've held strong.
Yep.
We've held strong. But yeah, we don't know. So it'll be a surprise to us and a surprise to you guys. But we did get some comments too about, you know, a baby registry. We're going to include the Amazon registry in our description below. And our P.O. box is there, address is there as well.
But also we want you to know too that this isn't something that we expect from y'all. This is
no, we don't.
Times are tough. I mean, it's the inflation's hitting everybody. So
yeah, we don't expect it at all. But we did have a few people reach out. And
I was really surprised that anybody even reached out.
I know, we've definitely feeling the love there. But yeah, like he said, we don't expect it. It's not necessary, but we do appreciate every one of you guys and all your support with this channel and and all the best wishes and the prayers that we've people have commented on with the baby. We're really thankful for the supportive community from you guys. All right, so next question that we get asked a lot is where do you live? So we live on the Kenai Peninsula, which is in southern Alaska. And we really enjoy it. We've lived in Wisconsin, like we said, for 4 years. So the weather in the winter is pretty comparable, I would say, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, comparable. I'd almost say it's even better in some ways.
Yeah.
So, like, lately the nights have been negative 25 here. But in Wisconsin, we were having nights of, and days even, of, it was negative 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I felt like I was colder there than I am here almost.
Yeah, so, I mean, really, you know, when people think of Alaska, they think, oh, it's so terrible, the winters are terrible, but really, if you've lived in the north, in the lower 48, I really think you could handle Alaska, in at least southern Alaska, because it is pretty similar, and it's doable. Next question is, what type of dog do you have? So we, if you've watched our dog adoption and chicken video, which was one of our first videos, you'll see us adopting Mocha is her name, and she is a medium-sized poodle, and we actually got her from a rescue. She was an owner surrender. She wasn't what they were, the size that they thought she was going to be for breeding purposes, so we adopted her. And she's been a really good fit for our family.
Yeah, she has.
She has. Harrison, she's still a puppy, so she gets a little rambunctious with Harrison. But overall, she's a great dog. And
full of energy, too.
Full of energy, yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. We got a lot of comments about us letting her run Resurrection Pass. Let me tell you something. She loved it. She was racing us. She would run up, and towards the end of that video, you can see it. She would run up past us like she was racing us, then run back and be like, hey, what's taking you so long, you know?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, why is she not wearing shoes and a winter jacket? But
her paws are huge.
Her paws are huge. She has a huge, thick fur. We have not groomed her since we got her for this reason. It's her winter jacket. And then shoes, we've tried to keep shoes on her. She won't wear them. She hates them. She'd rather run free in the snow. And yeah, she loves it. And another question was from our Resurrection Pass video is why is she not riding on the sled? Why are we letting her run that far? Well, she won't stay on the sled. No. She's not a sled dog. She doesn't like to ride. She likes to run, like he said. So we let her do her thing. If we see that she gets tired, you know, we could change, you know, the way we're doing things. But she's also only a year old, so she's got a lot of energy. Maybe later when she's older, we'll change things. But she's got a lot of energy and loves the snow.
She does.
Another question we get asked a lot, if you've been following our cabin videos, is how much did our land cost?
Yeah, so our land that we ended up purchasing was in the upper 50s when we purchased it. And the reason why it was priced at that is because it has... Well, the cabin wasn't even in consideration. That's the first thing I want to say.
No, so, yeah, just not to interrupt you, but yeah, the cabin, the trailer, and the Airstream were not included in that upper 50K price range. No value.
Wasn't a part of the negotiation at all. They knew that cabin had been abandoned by the previous owner, and so...
And probably not livable.
Yeah. And so when they acquired that, it was only to sell it. That's the only reason why they had that land. The owners, that is. I never met the owners.
It was through a third party.
For all I know, it was bank owned, because I wasn't allowed to know.
Yeah, it was through a third party, but it also, you know, upper 50K range, but the location is awesome.
Yeah, so another reason why we purchased that land is the location. The location is in the Soldotna area, just on the outskirts of it.
Which is a huge fishing destination in the summer.
Yeah, and we would love to have a little place to go to, you know, stay when we were fishing and stuff like that.
And it's literally about 7 minutes from the river, so the Kenai River. So, awesome location.
Yeah, it's a great location. The other reason why the price was the way it was, in case you're wondering, well, geez, that's a lot for about 2 acres of land, is because it has a 4-bedroom septic on it. And in this area, or in the area, I should say, that it's at, that is about a 25K septic system, from what I was told. And then it already has a well, it already has electricity going to it, and it already has gas going to it. And all of those things are high purchase items when you're buying stuff in Alaska. To get electricity, to get all those things put there, That's an easy $30,000 to $40,000
Yeah.
for everything.
And plus it had a driveway.
And it also had a driveway
Which,
as well.
most of this land around here, at least where we're at and in the Soldotna area, if you're buying land, it's undeveloped.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, you have to do everything. And, you know, given kids and having time, not having a lot of time to do all that ourselves, it was a really good deal.
Yeah,
we have
really.
a lot of work to do with the cabin and everything, which we thought was plenty besides having to do a driveway and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Time and money.
So...
But yeah, so that's a common question we get. So we hope we answered that one for you guys. Okay, so another question we get asked a lot is, what was it like moving to Alaska? So that's a pretty big question.
Yeah.
Kind of broad, but we'll kind of give you a quick summary. So, like we said, we were in Texas before we came to Alaska, but we did live in Wisconsin for 4 years. What was it like moving?
When we moved to Alaska, we didn't come here necessarily prepared to stay the entire time. Like I said, we finally made our decision to stick around. It was in October, and that's when we started to make final arrangements. But when we moved here, we flew in, and we got a rental property, and we also rented a vehicle. And just to give you the expense of this area, Kenai.
Well, and that was in the summer, too.
It was in the summer.
So,
and the
summer's the most expensive.
Very expensive, yeah.
For rentals.
But the price of it, we were paying $1,500 a month just to have the rental vehicle. Mm-hmm. And we were paying another $1,375 for where we were staying. And so it was quite expensive. But the facility I was working at paid for all those things, so that's why it was feasible for us.
Yeah, and so we decided to stay. So after the contract was over, our contract was over in October, we decided to go ahead and stay. And that's actually when we found the piece of property too. So we kind of felt like that was a sign. So we decided to stay. We bought the property, and then we went back to Texas and decided to go ahead and get our truck shipped up here.
Yeah. And that was another expense. The truck was kind of a surprise. So if we were to have driven it all the way to Washington, that would have cost us about $2,500. And I worked with these people to try to get it shipped from the place we were living in Texas all the way to there. And then I worked with them to ship it to Alaska. And that price they quoted me was $4,500. So we were really surprised when we came back and they charged us $6,000.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't read the fine print.
Yeah, they ended up charging us more than what was quoted originally.
Yeah, and you can see in our video where we're talking about...
yeah, if you see I think it's our second video or third video, you can see about, when we got the truck shipped up here. But the reason we spent that much money was because the vehicles in Alaska are expensive, and our truck was already paid off. So we wanted to go ahead and bring it up here. All right. And then to follow up with that question, we get it a lot. Is it more expensive to live in Alaska? That is a definite yes. It is more expensive to live, especially if you're renting. Rentals here are insane.
Yeah, they're quite expensive.
And then houses also are super expensive. Coming from Texas where you can get a reasonable house, coming here, you're getting houses that are about 1,400 to 1,600 square foot for the price of one that you can get in Texas for about 24 to 3,000 square foot. So, and a lot of them they don't have the bells and whistles. Some of them don't even have dishwashers.
Yeah.
Some of them don't have a full garage, driveways. Oh, and that's not including air conditioning. Houses here and rentals here don't have air conditioning.
Yeah. So yeah, you're easily looking for a rental in the city. You're looking at like $2,000 easy, long term.
Yeah.
And then on the outskirts of the city, from what we've seen, you're looking at it's like $1,600 for the whole year, a whole year's contract. And that's not even living in the city. So.
Well, and that's a 1-bedroom, maybe 2. Utilities may or may not be included. And the first rental we stayed in didn't have a dishwasher or a washer and dryer, which, maybe we're a little bit spoiled, but, when you're paying that kind of rent, you know, that's what we were used to. And it's really nice with a toddler to have, you know, extra things.
Oh yeah, when you have children, things are a lot different.
Yeah. But the typical house here for $1,400 to $1,600, I would say, is what, in the $350, $400 range?
Oh yeah, I mean,
for maybe a 2 to 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
A house that you could get in Texas for like $250, you're probably gonna pay $400,000 for it.
Yeah, easy. And that, like we said, that's not air conditioning, and that's not a lot of the bells and whistles. That's like your builder's grade. And also, groceries are more expensive. Gas is more expensive, especially in the summer. About $1 per gallon difference in the summer for gas. Plus, like right now, gas is $3.08 a gallon in the winter. And in the summer, it can go as high, we've seen it as high as $4.20.
Oh yeah, it
plus
was really high.
In the summer.
The overall expenses for Alaska, from what I've seen, I call it the 20% tax. I mean, everything costs roughly about 20% more than it does in the lower 48.
Yeah, and that's because a lot of it's being shipped up here. And, you know, depending on where you live in Alaska, you're not going to get everything that you're used to. It's going to take longer. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a shock for us. Like you said, you know, because we're coming from a bigger city to Alaska and having kids, it's a little bit of a shock, the prices of things, as well as not being able to have everything that you're used to because of shipping delays, just not being able to get it in your area. You know, Amazon doesn't ship everything here.
Yeah, your Prime Amazon is like a week.
Well, yeah, your Amazon Prime is about a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then Amazon, just a lot of stuff doesn't get shipped here, like same as Hawaii, you know, it doesn't get shipped. So, just kind of things to know. And, you know, over time, it doesn't really matter to us. We've adapted, we've changed our lifestyle, but we were a little bit surprised when we first got here.
I was just surprised mostly that they still called it Prime.
Yeah, we're still paying for Amazon Prime, and it's at 2 days, it's about 2 weeks.
And I tell you what, when we went ice fishing in Wisconsin, this is so much warmer when you're like this.
Yeah.
It's actually bearable. I mean, I can sit here without my gloves on. Harrison doesn't have any gloves on.
It's warm in here.
It's very bearable.
Even though it's like outside,
it's in the negatives now.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. Yeah, like right now it's about 0. It's supposed to drop lower, but it's pretty cold out there, but in here it's a lot warmer. Another question that we get asked a lot is, can you see the northern lights from your house?
And yeah, I would say we definitely can. One of my favorite things to do, and something I've done even before I got into doing YouTube, is I like to video the night skies. A lot of times you'll see in our videos the northern lights or just the stars, either in the beginning or the end, or sometimes both, depending on, you know, how wonderful the lights are out. So yeah, we can see it quite often, and we'll actually show you from now on. We show you every time we do see them. So
yeah, and if you go back to some of our first videos, we have some excellent footage of the northern lights that he was able to capture. And it just depends on the night, you know, clear or cloudy, and it depends on the intensity of them. But yeah, we can definitely see them from our house.
Yes.
Question: what type of wildlife have you seen since you've been living in Alaska? So when we came up on contract, before we started jobs, we actually took 2 weeks and explored a lot of Alaska because we didn't think we were going to be staying, and it was always on our bucket list to come to Alaska. So we visited several places in those 2 weeks. We went to Haines, Juneau, Denali. We went to
Fairbanks,
the hot springs.
in Chena, yep.
Yeah, Chena Hot Springs. We did a lot because we didn't know if we'd be back, and it was also summer, so we wanted to take advantage of it. And so during those times, we saw a lot of wildlife. We saw grizzly bears in Haines, which was my absolute favorite, and we'll share some photos with you on some of these little trips that we took. Since we've been here, we have seen moose. We've saw even a bull moose. We've seen rabbits. We've seen ptarmigan. We've seen caribou.
And the black bears, did you?
Black bears, yeah.
Yeah, those were really close to me. I got a little too close. Didn't know they were there. I could smell them, but they were coming down the mountain, and even though I could smell them, we could smell them all over the place.
Smells like wet dog if you don't know what they smell like.
Very strong wet dog
You would
smell.
know. You know. Yeah. So we got a little too close.
Yeah, I got a little too close.
A little too close. He did. Yeah.
But I didn't know, and you know, as soon as like I got 20 feet away from where I was standing, I turned around and they were standing right there. So I'm glad I moved because it was a mama and a baby. So
yeah,
it's a good thing I was on the move when I realized the smell was getting stronger.
Which is why you want to carry bear spray with you when you're out in certain places.
For sure.
But yeah, we've seen a lot of wildlife, and bald eagles, forgot about them, which we saw, I think, 1 or 2 in Wisconsin. But, you know, when you see them here, and it is the last frontier, and you see them out in this beautiful area, it's just different. The animals in their natural habitat, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, Daddy's trying to fish.
But yeah, we did get to see some bald eagles as well.
You want to fish too?
You want to go fish? Okay. So yeah, we've been very fortunate to see pretty much all the animals that we've wanted to since we've been here. So
yeah, we've seen tons. I think the only thing we really haven't seen is like caribou.
Yeah,
and I really would like to see some caribou.
Oh, I forgot. We did see humpback whales.
We did see humpback whales.
Oh, the one thing that we have not seen that's on my list, my bucket list, we've tried so hard several times to see them, are the orca whales.
Yeah, it's not.
Twice. Yeah, even though we've done the tours and everything, and been on boat rides, and you know, it's just hit or miss with them. But yeah, we've seen humpback whales as well.
Yeah. And we've seen them plenty of time as well.
Yeah.
The whales well.
But yeah, we've seen pretty much everything that we've hoped to see.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do you get paid to live in Alaska?
So as far as getting paid to live in Alaska, there's something called a PFD, and it's like permanent fund dividend. It's created based off the oil rights. So one thing to note is in the lower 48, at least in most states that I know of, the lower 48, you can actually own the oil rights that are underneath you. Here in Alaska, they have decided to take ownership of all of the oil rights. But because of that, they are using it to pay for and government funding, school funding, and stuff like that. But they offer a small stipend to those who live here permanently. Typically, from what I have seen and heard, because we have yet to receive one,
you have to be here for at least a year.
You have to be for, and it's not just, you
can't just
12
come
months.
Here and get
it's 1 calendar year. So you have to be here from the January 1st to the December 31st until the next year. So you have to be here a full calendar year to get that dividend. And typically, from what I have seen, now the first year, everybody was talking about it when we first got here, and it was like $3,200 a person, which is significant. But this last year, it was about $1,200, $1,300,
it
something
changes
like that.
every year.
It's people I work with. They say, it's only $3,200 and above during election years. So just like any other any other fund.
But it's something to note that you can, but there's certain qualifications too. There's paperwork. You know, they want a lot of information from you. So we're hoping to get it, in the next year or so.
Yeah.
But it is, you can't just show up here and collect. There's certain things you have to follow, and you have to be here for at least a year.
Yeah.
Right. And then, is Alaska what you thought it was going to be like?
I mean, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, no. No.
I mean, it's always been like the bucket list place, right? When we came to Alaska, we were just awestruck, at first. But because I was coming for work, I was just kind of, geared up for work, thinking only about work. And, some of the things about Alaska kind of got to me. But like I said before, when I finally lifted my eyes and looked at the horizon, I was just like, wow, this is beautiful. This is great.
No.
Everything about Alaska, I'm loving it.
But we used to watch the show Life Below Zero. I don't know if some of you are familiar with that, probably. Yeah. And that kind of scared us at first.
Yeah, I mean...
We're like,
Any of these Discovery shows you're watching, they show you what one of the worst potentials of any of this
which is like why we like doing these videos, because we feel like we're showing you guys more realistic, especially with a family. And smaller children. But we used to watch that show and be like, are we sure you want to go to Alaska? But it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Now maybe if you're off grid and up north a little bit more, but we're south and we're in a more established area. So it's not like that.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. I would say though, when you think of Alaska, usually people are thinking of the places like in Discovery and the places like in the TV shows.
Like, why would you want to go there?
Yeah.
What's there? There's nothing there. It's
even our parents.
so cold.
Yeah.
It's so cold, which it is cold, but like we said earlier, you know, compared to Wisconsin and lower, the northern lower 48, it's comparable.
It's warmer. I mean, honestly,
but
it's warmer.
You are more secluded, you know, it is harder to get to, it is harder for family to visit, which is an issue. It is more expensive to come visit and for us to go back at home and visit, especially with children. But we think, you know, it wasn't what we thought, but I think it's been much more than that.
Yeah, it's been great.
And just the idea of the freedom that we have and that we can attain here.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons to stay here, is that there's a lot of freedom in Alaska.
In the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
You know, we came from a bigger city in Texas.
Yeah.
And it was just getting to be too much. You know, here the air's clean, the water's clean, people are nice. You're not congested. It's not taking you forever to get to work.
Yeah.
The smaller town is definitely worth something to us.
Yeah, for sure.
What is the coldest temperature you've experienced in Alaska, and how did it feel?
Well, actually, this is the coldest temperature we've experienced these past few days, 3 days.
Yeah, this
and then
has been
the
about
temperatures
a week
came
now.
back up. Yeah, and we got, it looks like almost another week or half a week ahead of us of these negative temperatures like this.
Yeah, so I'd say about negative 25 is probably the coldest it's been here for us. But, you know, it's doable. I mean, yeah, we still go places and we still try to do stuff outside. You just have to wear the proper attire. You know, make sure you're dressed and warm. But it was not this cold last year. So it just depends on the year, but negative 25 and it's doable. All right. And then another one related to the weather is, how are you dealing with the lack of sun in the winter?
So, yeah, with the lack of sun, I mean, I could see how you could easily become maybe, I don't know.
You have cabin fever.
Yeah, cabin fever, become somewhat depressed. I would say, like, taking vitamin D is a big thing here.
It's harder, though, for me in my opinion, with kids. And a lot of moms I've talked to have also said the same thing. It's hard on their sleep schedule because, you know, when you see the nighttime, you see the daylight, you know, wake up, go to sleep. So blackout curtains are a big thing here. You've got to have blackout curtains. And then just kind of keeping a routine, like, you know, just not staying inside. I know in the winter it's hard. Oh, it's cold. I just want to stay inside. It's dark. But even when it's dark, Harrison and I and us too, all of us on the weekend, we're doing stuff.
Yeah, it's easy to get in a rut and try and want to stay home.
What is one piece of advice you would offer somebody looking to live in Alaska?
I would say keep in mind the price, right? The price is kind of a big thing. I would definitely say keep in mind the price. If you're planning on moving all your stuff here, it's going to be expensive. Shipping is very expensive to Alaska. One thing I would say you actually will save money on is a vehicle. And if you can drive, that's even better. But with kids, and it just didn't make sense for us to drive the entire Alaskan highway through Canada.
What are your future plans at your property? So we just did a video last week on our cabin and our property. So if you want to check that out, highly recommend checking that one out, as well as the other two that came before it. We give you updates on that.
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to wait till the spring to make any final decisions.
One of the plans that we have at the place we're currently staying at is we're going to finish building the chicken coop. I think I'm going to end up adding a double layer to that. And then just to give them more room and just more heat retention as well. I plan on building a big old garden and
a greenhouse.
And just getting that set up and rely less on buying the groceries and stuff. Other than that, we plan on, you know, rocking and potentially doing some concrete work.
Our driveway, we need to re-gravel our driveway.
Yeah.
And do some maintenance to the house. So
yeah, we're gonna be busy.
Anyway, and you know, summer, you know, okay, so one thing about Life Below Zero, when we watched it, they're like, oh, you got to get all this stuff done. There's not a lot of time. You know, winter's coming. And that is actually true.
It is true.
That part is true. Summer flies by.
Yeah,
it's the land of the midnight sun. You do have more daylight, but you know, with it being only like 3 months of summer here, you really gotta tackle those projects.
Yeah, you really do.
So, but the cabin is definitely still. We're still gonna be working on it and making decisions on it. But like we said, we just have other projects as well.
Yeah, we have a busy life upcoming.
Yeah.
New baby, and we are tackling a bunch of projects.
And we're excited to share it with you guys.
Yep.
So, you know, keep the questions coming, and we love to hear from you, and we appreciate your support.
All right, well, sadly we didn't catch anything, but we did have a good time. It was a good experience, it really was, to get out here and just test out all this equipment.
So we're hoping to go again, and hoping you guys come along with us and we can actually catch something.
Yeah, next time we'll be catching. We appreciate everybody taking the time to watch our videos as we do our adventures and live our life here in Alaska.
All right, y'all have a good night, and thanks for watching Good Living Alaska.
Good night.
You ready to go fish?
Yeah.
Yeah?
All right.
Okay. Can you put your line in? Drop a line in. Whoa!
Whoa.
Okay, you want to reel them up?
Yeah.
Here, turn it this way, buddy. You're more right-handed. Here, hold. Okay. Now, turn it.
Whoa.
Good job.